Want to grow your business and take it to the next level? Well, here we all are, and we're going to show you how through hard work, perseverance, and a little help and know-how, you can take things to the next level and push the success of your business even further. Let's get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Good to have you on the show once again. This is Omobola Stephen, your host on Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen is the personal development and self-improvement podcast with the occasion of expert and professionals who are adept in the topics of personal development and self-improvement. Right, on today's show, it's a pleasure to have Mary Henderson on the show. Now, Mary Henderson is an internationally recognized personal branding and online business specialist. Welcome to the show, Mary Henderson.
Thank you so much, Omobola. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you on the show, Mary, and looking forward to your expertise on today's show. Mary, now I understand that you have a personal branding technology that has the ability to define a person's brand essence with precision. Tell me, what has been the success rate?
So this is a software that we've developed over time. Personal branding for me started 22 years ago. So it's not something that's just been developed over reading 3 books. This is really intense learnings and wisdom that I've been able to convert into an actual software program. What it does is when people work with me, I am interested in understanding who is it that I'm working with in their natural state of being. So I don't want people to say, oh, I want to be like Oprah, because you're never going to be like Oprah. Oprah is Oprah, you are you. So I'm looking at very specific attributes that the software is able to extract just through the process and the application that the client has to complete. And what that gives me is what I would call data. It's just information that can be easily organized so that we can actually design the branding architecture so it makes sense to that person only. It's exclusive and bespoke for that person only. And in that, we capture all the attributes, their values, their brand story, their branding guidelines, all of the elements that are required for us to create a profile for that person, so that when they show up in the outside world, that the branding is consistent across all of the communication touch points.
Right. Now, Mary, you emphasize branding, right? So creating a personal brand can be a daunting and mythical task. I'm sure you are going to agree with me on that. So what are the golden rules for creating an engaging, unique, inviting personal brand?
Well, here's the thing, we can't, creating a personal brand is probably not the right approach. It's more about defining your personal brand. I think that's a better way to talk about a personal branding, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to build my brand, but the thing is that you can't build your brand. The only people that can build your brand are your brand advocates, paid clients or prospects. That's the only way your brand can be built. So I like to say, how do you define your branding essence? And that means that when you're defining your branding essence, it's like you've got to open yourself up and have a look inside and ask yourself, how do I want the outside world to perceive me? From every angle, colors, fonts, visuals, language, tone, voice, all of these elements realistically make up your brand. But, and this is a big but, that's all the beautiful touchy-feely things, which are very important. But it must always be congruent with what it is that you bring into the world in terms of your product or your service. So if it doesn't match, then what happens is that you're not believable and trustable. And that's where the disconnect is for a lot of people. So I think that a lot of people get this idea that personal branding is showing up on Instagram and being Instagram famous. That's not really the space that I play in. The space that I play in is genuinely working with human beings who have accumulated a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and skill set. And the question is, how do I organize all of that information, create a solution, show up in the world so I can become the go-to person for that one area of specialization?
Right. Now, let us debate a bit and talk about leads generation. That's really an interesting topic of discussion, especially in this time that we have. Now, if the leads that are entering a business sales pipeline aren't high quality, I understand that no push will be great enough to tip them over the line to become loyal customer. So my question to you is, how can a business entity consider client profiling to scale to? And now, why is client profiling this important?
I think that you've got to look at your lead generation strategy from a few different angles. Okay, so the first one, when we're looking at a client profiling, we're looking at a very clear profile of the perfect client, and we need to understand, what does that client look like, number one, but also we need to be able to have a qualification process. So how do I qualify that that person is the right lead for me? Because we can get leads, but qualified leads are a whole different ballgame. So if I get 100 leads, out of the 100, probably 3 to 5 will be qualified. Everyone else is just wasting time. So when I'm looking at qualified leads, I have a very, and by the way, qualified leads for me is actually having a conversation. That's what a qualified lead means for me. A lead that's downloading a lead magnet or watching a free masterclass, that's not a lead for me. For me, an actual qualified lead is someone I'm having a conversation with. Even in that process, when somebody books a strategy call with me, the qualification process is so strict. You know, there are so many strict parameters that I make someone go through, so before I actually get on a call with me. And the reason I do that is because I don't want you to get on a call with me if you don't qualify, because we're just going to waste each other's time. So I would rather, it's like I repulse people away from me rather than pull them towards me, because who's got time to spend with people? How many times have you heard this? Because they want to pick your brain. No one picks my brain. If I'm on a podcast interview, I'm going to have a beautiful conversation. I'm going to open up. I'm going to give your audience everything that I could possibly give you. But if you're going to be on a call with me for 45 minutes, there's no room for picking brains, because we have to respect each other's time. If you've got a problem that you're trying to solve, you're not going to solve it by picking somebody's brain. So we've got to step over the line and start to act like mature adults, both sides of the coin, me and the prospect. We've got to have that we have to have that level of confidence to be able to say, if you're going to get on a call with me, you need to be in a position to make decisions, not in a position to waste your time, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So the qualification process is very important. And to do that, you must understand who you want in your ecosystem.
Absolutely. Right. So talking about client profiling, right? It can be a good business tool, right? And also they can cause ethical issues. Can we delve into this little?
Sorry, we just cut out a little bit then. Can I just get you to repeat that? I just didn't hear that.
All right. Now, we're talking about client profiling. I know that it can really be a good business tool, right? Also, they can cause ethical issues. I'd like us to delve into this.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. If you draw into your business, clients that are not aligned to your values and also are not willing to put the time and effort into it. This is a really big one that I learned along the way, because you can get people excited and they can come into your ecosystem and say, yes, I'm going to do all the work. I'm excited. I want to get into it, etc. Then they start and then they're like, you know what? I just want to get rich quick scheme. This is not for me. And so they're the clients that you've got to be very, very cautious of, because what happens is that they have false expectations, and then it becomes your problem. So, and one step further, if you're in a group scenario, that's the worst thing, because the whole idea of creating a group, a business based on a group scenario, like a group coaching program, one person can destroy the entire group energy. One person, it's all it takes. So we as business owners, we have to outsmart those type of clients from the standpoint of, number one, qualifying, but number two, in that process, in that strategy call session, we have to ask the right questions to be able to respond to that prospect with a, yes, I think that you would be amazing in my program, or I don't think that we're a good fit. I don't think I can help you. So we need to discern, you know, as business owners, coaches, consultants, whatever label you give yourself, who we want as part of that ecosystem. Otherwise, it can destroy all effort involved in building that business. I've seen this happen. And also I myself have learned from experience that the 3 or 4, maybe 5 clients that I've acquired in the last 7 years in my coaching business, the wrong clients cause hell. They actually do become the client from hell. So you have to really have the courage to say, we're not right for each other. Because when you say no to one, believe me, there's another 5 yeses waiting.
Right. I understand that this is a really tactics that the business employ. Right. Now, it's also a reality for B2C businesses, right? Now,
Yes.
so, yes. So if the current lead generation tactics, they aren't working, especially for B2C businesses, what do you think can be wrong? And what's the way forward?
I think it's the same. I think it's exactly the same concept. There's no us and them, this or that. I think it's all the same. My perspective on B2B or B2C is this. If there's 2 human beings having an interaction, it's the same. If it's a robot and a robot, it's different. But when 2 human beings are interacting, one selling and one is buying, it's a mature discussion. What we need to do as the coach or the consultant, the seller, we need to make it easy for the prospect to say yes. That's all we need to do.
Right. Now, to one of your area of expertise, talking about program development, right? Online and program development. Now, in this present age that we have, so what are some of the potential implications to education and learning? Share your insight.
I am really passionate about this space, and there's a couple of reasons why. You know, before my coaching business, I owned a software company, and we built education platforms for the academic sector. So this is a space that I'm very familiar with, and I know very well. Where I see a really big problem, let me start with a problem first, is that a lot of coaches, they build courses, they don't build programs. They're 2 different things, okay? A course is very information based. You know, it's all about pushing content, and it's consumption of content. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's more of an upskilling type of a mindset. I see this all the time. You know, you buy courses and then the coach is just talking, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if you're consuming knowledge all the time and you're not implementing as well, that becomes a bit of a problem, because on one hand you're consuming, and on the other hand you're like, oh, I've just wasted 12 hours consuming, but what do I do? What do I do now? So with a program, you've got the education, of course, but then you've got the implementation. And this for me is the space that I play in. And as I mentioned before, this is where the masculine system plays a big role. So in my business, I believe you've got to have the balance. So if you're creating a program, you've got the lesson, how to do it, then you've got the implementation part of it, and you've got tools, you've got frameworks, you've got all the supporting material that the client wants, or that the client needs, and that's a very important part of the process.
Right. Thank you once again, Mary Henderson, for an incredible insight on today's show. Really had a worthwhile time. Do you have any projects in the pipeline?
I have a lot of projects in the pipeline. You know, I'm always busy. There's always something happening on my end, but that's the whole idea, isn't it? It's all about growth. I think that's the most important thing. You know, as long as we're growing, that's the key.
That's right. Absolutely. Right. Any parting word you like to share with the audience?
I just think that the thing that I like to share is that, you know, I truly believe that knowledge, wisdom, and skills is a currency. And I think that once you recognize that your knowledge, wisdom, and skills has value, you can do something with it. And that's the message I always like to leave behind.
All right. Good to know. Thank you for that inspiration. I'd like to have your social media platforms and your website.
Social media website, you can get in touch with me with Mary at maryhendersoncoaching.com. All my handles on social media are all Mary Henderson Coaching.
All right, great. Thank you once again, Mary, for being a guest on today's show. I can only wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Omobola. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you once again for joining me on this show. You can catch up with missed episodes on any podcast distribution platform you come across. Till I come your way, I need you to be good. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.